Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Dudes and an MP3. It's a beautiful Saturday morning here in Michigan.
Not a cloud in the sky where I'm at.
Yeah, I've only been outside for like 10 minutes. It was also a beautiful day yesterday, and I was inside the entire time.
I'll tell you what, though. What is in the sky is a bunch of, like, fuzz, like cotton fuzz looking stuff. Have you noticed?
Dude, it's killing me. Yeah, I think it's like from these trees.
It is.
It just destroys my allergies.
My allergies have been off the chain the past couple of days. I mean,
yeah, it sucks, dude.
Yeah, my sinuses have been inflamed, to say the least.
Yeah, that's been the biggest, like, dude, this week, just like this week and this month in general has just been depressing here because it's just rainy all the time.
It
sucks.
I read a thing the other day on the news that said, well, I guess I watched it on the news, but it said that out of I think we've had like 172 or 171 or so days in the year, and it has rained 60% of those days here in Michigan.
It sucks.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. But, I mean, this is not going to last, and I want to enjoy my summer, so I'd like to talk about this road trip that I sent you. Without getting too specific, but I feel like this would be a good time to kind of hash out what we're doing, what the plan is, where we're
on
staying.
On the podcast?
Yeah, live on the podcast. We can hash this out.
Okay.
So, the point of this trip, I'm watching, I got this idea. I actually wanted to do it on a motorcycle first, but I don't have a motorcycle, and I don't really want to buy one. Ewan McGregor and one of his actor friends rode motorcycles from London to New York. So they took 3 months, and they on 2 motorcycles. They had a cameraman also on a motorcycle, and they had like 2 envoy vehicles following them. And they rode from like London, England, all the way to New York. So they started in
over the water as well.
Okay, that's what when I was explaining this to somebody else, and that was their question. But I'll elaborate. So they started in London. They went through Belgium, Germany, Czechoslovakia. They went to the Ukraine. Then they went to Russia, through Kazakhstan, Russia again, then Mongolia, and then they left from Russia, from Russia's east coast, and then they landed in Alaska. Then drove down through Canada to New York. So that was their trip, and I'm like, it just watching them in like, I think it's like 10 parts, and each part's like 45 minutes to an hour. Just watching them do it seems so cool and inspiring. So I thought, let's do a mini version of that from Detroit, Michigan to Copper Harbor, which is the most northern part of Michigan.
Copper Harbor is supposed to be extremely nice.
Yeah, and along the way, I have a few ideas for a stop. So I wanted to stop in Alpena because there's nothing there, and there's actually a ton of state forest that I think we could camp on. From Alpena, go stay the night in Alpena. So we'd go Wednesday to Sunday, stay the night in Alpena, maybe stay the night near Mackinac, stay a night near, that was Wednesday night, Thursday night, maybe stay a night near Pictured Rocks, and then get to Copper Harbor.
We should check out the mystery spot on the way up.
Oh, mystery spots are great. I'll plan some mystery spots, and I won't tell you guys what they are.
I'm talking about the actual place called the mystery spot.
I don't know what that is. You're gonna have to tell me.
Well, I have never been, but I know one of my friends has a cabin up north, and we would go up there quite often. And on the way up, I would always see an advertisement for a mystery spot somewhere up there around the Mackinac Bridge.
Okay, yeah, I'd be down to go to a mystery spot. I've never been to the UP. Have you?
Oh yeah, I've been to the UP multiple times. It is. I mean, it's the middle of nowhere. That's the only way to describe it. Honestly, if someone wanted to get lost, that's the place to go and get lost.
Yeah, just looking at it, it's almost like half state forest, which is so cool. I really want to go. And now that I've planned this trip and I'm looking at it on Google Maps, I'll send you a link. It looks like a lot of fun. And I've never really gone on a road trip like this.
I have gone on road trips with my family and whatnot, but never with some boys.
Yeah, I think we could have a good time. And like as far as sleeping, I think because I'm trying to do this relatively low budget, you can legally camp in Michigan on any state forest area. So I'm thinking we find a state forest with a river or a lake, take some baths in the morning, and then head out in the AM.
Yeah, the only problem with that is if we're in the UP, there are going to be like some bears and moose and shit like that do not want people fucking with their habitat. You know what I'm saying?
We can bring a gun.
Yeah, that'll help us.
I mean, that's one of the only things that I think would help us.
If we encounter a bear, just know, every man for themselves, Jeremy.
I'll fight it. Also, we should... So, here are our options vehicle-wise, right? So, we have your Chevy Cruze Malibu.
We're not taking the Cruze, I can tell you that.
Strike out the Cruze. I have a 2002 Cherokee that I'm happy to take. I think that's the perfect road trip car. One of the people who has not said anything in the group chat that we started this in, but is invited. He has a pretty new Jeep, which would be much easier than mine because I can see something going wrong with mine. I'll run down some of the issues. So the windows sometimes work and sometimes don't. Right now I have them all working. The trunk doesn't work. My windshield is very cracked.
We're going to go through a lot of gas, too, if we take that thing.
It's actually not terrible on gas on the highway. Between that and my Chrysler 200 that I used to have driving back and forth to college, they were about the same.
We should definitely take Matt's Jeep, but Matt is not going to want to. I can tell you that right now.
There's no way. So that's why I'm fine taking mine. And I think my car is... Like when you go on these road trips and when you hear about like classic road trip stories, part of the fun is dealing with a less than super equipped vehicle. Have you looked at the route yet that I sent you?
I haven't looked too much into it, no.
Go ahead and click on it and just follow the route and see if there's anywhere you think we should stay or if there's anywhere nearby on this route that you've heard of that we should go to.
Well, we should definitely hit up Traverse City.
Traverse City's a little bit out of the way, but I wouldn't. Traverse City's the opposite way. We can do Traverse City coming home.
Yeah, okay.
Can spend a day there. We'll figure out the itinerary as it gets closer, but I like the idea of planning this on this podcast and then filming the actual trip and then talking about it afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Well, we shouldn't spend this whole podcast talking about it.
No. Do you have experience roughing it out in the wilderness?
My last name is Camp, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot. You just doxed yourself, dude.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, I'm thinking we just pull over to the side of the road in one of these shops. I have 2 tents. One of them is a 2-person tent, which would be really tight for 4 people. We'd be really close together. And then I have like a 12-person tent that's a pain in the ass to set up.
I would much rather use the 12-person tent. I don't care how much harder it is to set up.
That's what I'm thinking. And after the first night, I think we'll be pretty okay at it. As far as sleeping bags, I'd like to do this in the weekend that we picked. As long as it's not like 110 degrees, I think it would be perfect. I think this trip in the fall would be really nice, but I don't really want to wait that long.
Yeah, plus we'll be starting school, so...
Yeah, that would be much harder. So I think the weekend we have works good, because I'm pretty sure I can get it off work. Matt might have trouble getting it off work. I don't know. We'll touch on that with him. But yeah, like these places in the UP that I've never been to and have heard of, I've always wanted to go to. Like Copper Harbor, I've heard was cool. We can make a stop in Berga because we have friends there. This route takes us through that.
Well, Jonah's still here.
Oh, is he? Okay, never mind then.
We could bring him with us though.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
He'd be a good tour guide.
5 people in my Jeep would be hard. Maybe we can take 2 cars, make this a convoy.
I don't know.
As far as gas goes, this is 689 miles. My car probably gets 20 miles to the gallon. Let me do some quick maths.
2 plus 2 equals 4.
689. I knew that was coming. So that's... I need 34 gallons of gas. I'm not doing this math right. There's no way. We'll say gas is $2.50.
You're not.
That's like $100 in gas. That's not bad. Split between 4 people.
Okay, that actually sounds realistic.
Yeah, 100, and that's each way. So like it'd be $50 a person, and then food-wise, like I'll bring a portable grill, hot dogs, stuff like that. We can make it work. Stop at McDonald's. Every town has a McDonald's. We'll never be far enough or too far away from food. And worst case, we can hunt our own.
True. We can sharpen spears and or sticks and use them as spears.
And you just got a free camping quality sleeping bag.
I just got a free, extremely nice sleeping bag. I mean, it's the nicest sleeping bag I think I've ever owned, and I didn't.
Does it have a degree rating on it?
I don't believe so, but it's like Swiss is the brand.
Ooh,
Swiss.
You should look it up and see if there's a weather rating for it, because it might get kind of chilly. And I don't really want to bring a space heater because they're incredibly dangerous and tense. Dude, the nights can be cold. I was camping in July in a tent, and it was it dipped down to 40. It was damn cold.
Knowing Dante, he'll bring his heat dish and crank it up all the way.
That's not allowed in my tent. That's the one thing when you get a tent, they're don't have any heating elements because it'll melt the zipper.
Well, yeah, no.
You can't get out.
I mean, I was obviously joking, but
yeah. Dude, there's a lot of little towns around here that I just can't imagine we'll ever go to again. So I'm excited for this trip. I've been thinking about something that's kind of weird, and I talked about this on a podcast that I used to do when I went to school. And that's I watched the Cyberpunk trailer, and then I heard a little bit more about the game, and it just kind of got me thinking about the dystopian trajectory I think we're headed to, right? So I'd like to pick your brain on a few things, Jared, if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ideas I have is that eventually robots will replace a large portion of the workforce, and so there's just going to be all these people who don't have jobs, who just can't get jobs because there's too many robots doing them. And I think that there is an eventuality, hopefully, where people will just get a stipend from the government, kind of like in that one show we watched. What is that called? Where Earth is just ruled by the UN and Mars and the
Expanse.
Yeah, in The Expanse, where humanity is kind of broken down, and there's just no jobs. So there's this level of people who are doing jobs and working in the government and working in things that robots can't replace, and everybody else is just yeah, we have nothing to do. So that is what I think the most likely scenario is for the future of this country and the world, really going into the next 50 years. Do you have thoughts, criticisms, Jarrett?
Well, there's always going to be people who need to make and program the robots. So that will be a job. Also, I still think we're quite a ways away from having robots in the workforce. I mean, you see all these Boston U videos of robots and shit, but that's about as far as we've gotten. AI has gotten pretty far, but
AI.
Anyway,
if anybody gets that, if you know where that's from, please go ahead and put it in the comments. And if you get it right, we'll give you a free Patreon membership. How about that?
That's a deal right there.
That's a bargain.
But anyway, yeah, I still think we're quite a ways away from that. Honestly, in my opinion, what's going to happen is we're all just going to nuke the shit out of each other. Or the Earth will become so uninhabitable that we will have to... It'll be like Interstellar. We're going to have to go and try and find another planet to live on, or else we'll die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever heard this weird... I don't remember what it's called, but it's this weird paradox where if a civilization... And I thought about this playing Mass Effect. If a civilization sends a spaceship out, and that spaceship is going 500 light years away, and it takes 500 years to reach that destination, say you're going at light speed, 250 years from when that trip left, humanity will have advanced enough to send a different spaceship that is fast enough to get there in 250 years, and so on and so forth. And as you get closer to this mark when the first ship was going to get there, 10 years till that 500-year ship is going to get there, humanity is already advanced enough where they can send ships that can get there in as quick as 2 years. So that's always blown my mind.
Space is crazy, dude. So you can't even... we don't even know what's out there.
Yeah, and then once you know that, you can do like fun things with that, where you don't, because the ship is leaving 500 years, you don't know what they need, so you can kind of leave them just with general stuff, and then once you know where they're going closer to it, you can send ships that are better equipped for it. I'm too sober to be talking about this shit at noon. But yeah, these are the things I think about when I'm just standing in the shower letting the water hit me.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why in Interstellar they had to go through the wormhole, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Neil deGrasse Tyson did a breakdown of that movie, like he does with a lot of movies, and a lot of the stuff I was like, dude, it's a movie. Come on.
Yeah, but that movie is actually, I'm not gonna say it's realistic, but they had a scientist, like an actual astronomer, work on the movie with them, and they were like, okay, this is what we think a black hole would look like on the inside. We don't know for sure, but
yeah, that movie is visually so impressive.
It is. I think it's a really good movie, as much as there's plot holes and stuff in it. But when the actual picture of the black hole came out, everybody was like, "This doesn't look anything like Interstellar." and then they released the like actual like high definition picture of like, they were like, "Okay, so here you can see," because like obviously they're not going to get a good picture, right?
Yeah.
But it's still amazing that they were able to get one. And
yeah, it really is. Like the whole notion of we took a picture of a black hole, and it was hard. Like just the story and the methodology behind how they took that picture, and how they then took that information and gave it to an artist and said, "This is what we think these numbers mean." Like the whole story behind that is so interesting and so cool.
But they did like do some high res like editing and stuff like that, and it actually does look pretty similar to what it looked like in Interstellar.
Yeah, and like as the guy who was the advisor on Interstellar, you have to have the biggest "I told you so" ever.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it was just a theory. He was like, "This is what I think it looks like. I'm not sure though." And then it ended up actually looking like that. So he probably popped a pretty big chub, I would imagine.
He was full mast when he saw that picture. A lot of those space photos are just artist interpretations. Like I have a book. Let me grab it. I'll be right back. I have a book that I bought for $5 on sale at Barnes & Noble.
This is just my time alone
called
with the audience.
Universe, A Journey from Earth to the Edge of the Cosmos. And all this book is just pictures getting progressively farther away from Earth of celestial bodies. And a lot of these are like actual pictures. Like there's a picture of Europa, which is a Jupiter on Moon, and there's a picture of all the planets. But once you get super far away, like, let me flip to it. Like the Helix Nebula, like these people were just like, that's what we think it looks like based on what we know and shit like that. And at the very end, they have like all these constellations and all these random nebulas in the universe, and then the final chapter is Intergalactic, which shows other galaxies. And the final picture is a map of the universe, and it's just so cool. Like using radiation. I'll read out the passage. It's called the W map, which is a background radiation map, and it covers 13.4 billion light years of space. So it's pretty impressive, and it just looks like a heat map, like you shown an infrared camera at an egg or something, and it's all spotted. And this is the passage. Having closed to within a mere 379,000 years of the Big Bang, a wall of microwave radiation marks the end of your journey. For beyond this horizon, an ocean of superheated plasma impedes light's progress. From this primeval vantage point, we can discern the overall shape of our cosmic habitat. We may not live on a flat Earth, but we do live in a flat universe. So that's the passage. There's a giant bug in my room that's just distracted me, and I'm tied to a microphone and I can't kill it. But yeah, just that stuff is so profound and cool. Here, you vamp.
That is insane, but the fact that we know more about space than we do our own oceans kind of terrifies me.
The bug ran away, but yeah, just like that's why I've always been fascinated in space. Like I bought this book when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, I had an astronomy class in high school.
Interesting to you?
I wasn't really like crazy into astronomy or anything. I just thought it would be a good class to take. But the teacher that I had, was so into astronomy, he made that class fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is such an interesting topic. I used to watch the Science Channel as a kid. Like that was my Disney Channel. I was watching the Science Channel and the Discovery Channel. Yeah, thank you. And then now I don't like. I wanted to be in the sciences growing up, and then
I don't blame
they
you.
brought math into it, and I just didn't want to do math.
I've got a story, Jeremy. So, it involves work.
Hit me.
And it can only be described as the great smell debacle of 2019. So it starts as any great story starts. Two guys driving around in a van. And we get a call from our property manager at one of our apartment complexes. And she says, "Hey guys, we're trying to show this apartment. It's like their model apartment that they show, right? But there is some smell in there, and it smells terrible. And yeah, and they were like, can you go up there and try and figure out what it is?" So we're like, yeah, we'll go stick our noses in there, see what the smell is. So we go up there, and we go in the apartment, and we can't smell a thing. And then we're like, I don't smell anything. Yeah, we're like, it smells like a normal apartment. So we give them a call back.
We did it.
Like,
job done.
Hey, we don't smell anything. So, I mean, there's nothing we can really do about it. And she was like, oh, okay, all right. So fast forward to the next day. We get another call. Hey, guys, the smell is back. And it's really bad this time. So we're like, all right, okay, we'll go check it out again. We'll go again. So we go back into the apartment, and this time we can smell it. But only here and there, a couple places, it's sometimes we smell it, sometimes we don't, if that makes sense. It's like very sporadic. We don't really know what we're smelling. So my partner, he says, it smells to me like a dead mouse. That's what I said. I was like, how the hell do you know what a dead mouse smells like?
It's a really specific thing to smell, I'd say.
For two, why would you, that's such a specific thing to say, right? So I'm like, I don't know about that. I'm like, I can't say if that's a dead mouse or not. I can't
sign off on that one.
So we call it a day. We're like, we check all around this apartment, can't find anything, can't find a dead mouse or whatever. So we call back to the property manager and we say, we can smell something, but we have no idea what it is. And she said, well, it smells to me like sewage. And yeah, right.
Not a rat, but or not a mouse.
You see, the thing is,
it's a very
me and
my
partner
source there.
We replace toilets maybe 2 or 3 times a day, right? So, yeah, so we're always taking off toilets.
That's top 1% toilet replacement.
And I don't know if you've ever reset a toilet or anything like that. But when you take the toilet off, there is a big
I haven't, and I hope I never do.
Tube leading down to the sewer. Like, that's where your shit and piss goes. And the sewer gases just come up out of this tube.
Yeah, because the water in the toilet bowl creates a seal, right? So it prevents any of that smell from coming out.
Yeah, well, not only the water, also the wax ring around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the sewer gases will come out of this tube, and it's just some of the worst smell. It smells awful. I can't even describe it. But anyway, so we're like, there's no way it's that, because we know what that smells like. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we were like, it's not sewage. She says, oh.
You're a trained nose for sewage.
So she says, oh, okay, all right, that's fine, whatever. So fast forward now again to the next day. we get a call back. She says, okay, you guys are going to kill me, but it still smells in there. Like, can you please go and check it out one more time? So we say, yeah, we'll go and check it out again. So we call up our boss. We're like, hey.
Get the big guns.
We're like, can you come out here and smell this apartment with us? Because we cannot for the life of us figure out what the smell is. And so our boss comes, and we go up in the apartment. And my allergies are so bad on this day, I can't smell a thing.
Your guess is as good as any.
So I'm out of it.
You're a nose down.
Yeah. I can't really help him on this part. So we're up in the apartment, and our boss immediately says, smells to me like it's a dead mouse.
Oh, man. There's a second one. What?
Yep. So I'm like, what the fuck, first of all? I'm like, okay, all right. So we check the whole apartment. The landscaping guys then end up coming over, and we're like, hey, come and check this out. And one of the new kids that we hired, he's like, smells like weed. And me and Randy, or me and my partner, who I know has done drugs before because he told me this story about how one time he was tripping on acid, and he got caught under his weighted blanket. Like he was trapped underneath of it.
It's like a prison.
So our boss says it smells like a dead mouse. And I'm just thinking, what the fuck, right? Because it's ridiculous to me that they can just pinpoint this smell like that. So anyway, the landscaping guys, they end up coming too to also smell the apartment.
There's a group of people now all smelling this apartment.
I'm not kidding.
Trying to see what it is. There's a whiteboard with ideas on it and tallies next to who thinks what.
But so one of the new guys, he's like, smells like weed to me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So he says, it smells like weed to me. And me and my partner, who I know has done drugs because he told me this story where he was tripping on acid and he got trapped underneath of his weighted blanket. We both look at each other and we look at him and we're like, nah, that's not what it is.
Incorrect.
And so we're like, well, shit, we have no idea what this smell is. Like there's literally nothing we can do about it. So we leave the apartment and we start checking outside of the apartment. We're checking around the back, up around the windows. So this apartment is upstairs underneath the laundry room. And as we are out walking around this apartment, I notice the boiler room is also right underneath of this apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, hey, why don't we look in that boiler room? Maybe something in there is causing the smell. And my partner goes, well, maybe. I don't know. Could be. I guess we should probably check it out. So he unlocks the door to the boiler room. And I go in first. And I am not exaggerating, Jeremy, when I tell you that it was a mass grave of dead mice.
Oh, my God. They got it right. Holy shit. How many mice?
I'm not even kidding when I'm saying there was at least 15 dead mice in this boiler room.
Jesus Christ. I haven't seen that many mice in my life.
Neither have I. I mean, I think it was because it was so hot in this room and there was no way out. Died. But like it was insane. It was like I walked in and my eyes gouged out of my head. I was like, what the fuck did I just walk in on?
Yeah, that sounds satanic.
It was like that scene from Band of Brothers where they pull up to the concentration camp.
Oh my God.
That's what it felt like.
What happened?
I was like, oh my God. My God.
By God.
But yeah, the whole bunch of dead mice. And so anyway.
Did you have to clean the mice up?
By clean up, all we did was sweep them into a garbage bag and throw them away.
Okay.
But so anyway, the moral of the story is I now know what a dead mouse smells like.
Yeah, that's like a rite of passage, apparently. Figuring out what a dead mouse smells like.
But the reason that she said it smells like sewage is because they do kind of smell like sewage. I looked it up afterwards. I was like, what makes a dead mouse smell so bad? And it's not actually the mouse itself. It is the tissue and that shit like decaying. And it gives off this kind of like methane smell.
Oh.
So it is not a good smell by any means.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun at all.
And it was seeping up into the apartment above, and then that was this great smell debacle of 2019.
Wow, that's impressive. Mm-hmm. I don't think anything happened to me this week even close to that interesting. That's incredible.
Yeah, I was saving it for the podcast. I felt like it would be a good story to tell.
I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. You were also on a roof. What were you doing on a roof?
Yeah, well, we got up on the roof. This is nowhere near as exciting. We just got up on the roof because there was a pipe that because it's been raining so much, water has been going into this pipe, and it made a huge bubble in the ceiling of this bathroom.
Oh, that's pretty gross.
Kind of similar to how our ceiling was bubbling because of our dishwasher.
Yeah. Thankfully, that didn't affect me.
Yeah, well, it didn't affect me really too bad either, because I found it before anything happened. But so we had to just go up on there and put some tar around the pipe so it would stop leaking.
Wow. Huh. I kind of prepared a work thing, but it's not so much a story. It's more of a complaint, but like the tiniest little, it's like a pet peeve, not even like a pet peeve, just like a mild, like, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. So at my job, I'm basically a photographer. I spent all that time in college shitting on photography and saying I hate it and being like, these photographers are all crazy. Why would anybody want a job doing this? And basically now my job is as a photographer, so that's cool. But my boss, the owner of the company that I work for, has been giving me more and more electronics and just setting them on my desk for me to figure out a use. And it's like the most random thing. So it started with somebody tried to give me a stapler, and I'm like, I don't need a stapler. You can keep your stapler.
What do you mean you don't need a stapler?
And then I got a stapler anyway. I don't like having stuff. Like, I got a bunch of pens that I don't like. I bring my own pen to work. This is besides the point. But it started. He gave me two monitors. He gave me his 2 monitors because he got some shiny new, badass, high tech ones. So I have like these old like 2010, 2014 monitors, which I'm not complaining. It's very nice of him to give me those monitors. I really appreciate it. It was enhanced my workstation. But I've been getting more stuff. Like I got like a UPS, like a uninterrupted power supply in case the power goes out and I need to emergency keep working. And then the SD card reader on my computer stopped working, so I got they went out to the store and they bought me all these accessories. And then I got a phone, which I guess if you work somewhere and you probably need a phone no matter where you're working. So that I got that. Except I can't answer calls. It's weird. And then he gave me these 2 speakers. I don't know when. And everybody I work with listens to country music, so I'm not gonna DJ for the office. It's not happening. And then I got he gave me a label printer, and I don't need all this. A label maker, like a big one, like an industrial sized label maker. And it now I feel like each piece of technology that I've been given increases the, I don't want to say responsibilities, but the random shit that I'm gonna have to do, because Jeremy has a label maker at his desk. He'll make you a label.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I have a label maker now. I never thought I would get to the point where I had a label maker, but I do.
Interesting. I thought you were doing data entry, not photography.
It's both, right? So I take the photos of parts, and then I put them on their online website. That's kind of my workflow right now. And I had to learn Lightroom, which I would always just shit on photographers for you. It's weird, right? So in college, I hung out with a lot of photographers, and I dated a few photographers, and I was like, who would want to go into this profession? And now I have a job doing that. And now I can put on my resume studio photographer. I have a photo studio there with a backdrop and all these flashes with umbrellas. It's weird, man. It's weird being
an adult. You've become what you hate, Jeremy.
Yeah, and then there's a 401k options and Roth IRA options, and I get health insurance if I work there for 3 months. So Did I mention how I got this job, by the way? Like, it was offered to my brother who just graduated high school, and then he didn't want it because he was working at Home Depot, and he has since then quit. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I went in, and they told me I was overdressed, and then I got the job. But I'm only making $12 an hour, so that's great.
Hey, I'm only making 11, so...
Yeah, somebody it's weird, right? So I'm starting to see now the people I graduated with, like, the different paths they're taking. And, so, like, one of these guys that I graduated with is like, yeah, I just got a $60,000 a year job at DTE. And I'm like, what? It's like, what does somebody even do with that? Like, I've never, like, I'm making, like, if I extrapolated how much I'm making during a summer job, I'd make like $25,000 a year. And I'm looking at my bank account like, man, I'm up to $2,000 in my debit account. This is great. And I couldn't imagine like getting $3,000, $6,000 a month paychecks. Yeah, it's weird, man.
I am looking forward to those days. I can tell you that much.
I am, but I'm also like the jobs that these people have in my field, being PR people for big companies, just don't sound fun. Like there's no fun in it.
Hey, I mean, you're the one that chose that degree. You know what I mean?
When I picked my degree, when I was looking at Central Michigan University's catalog, I picked the most broad things I could possibly do because I've always kind of wanted to work for myself and to run my own business, and I'm doing that on the side. Like I have side gigs here and there, but like I picked the most broad thing ever. And whenever anybody asked me like, "Oh, where do you want to write for a newspaper?" I would say, "No, I don't know exactly what I want to do. I'm just doing like the political science degree was because I liked it and it was different than my major." And then the PR thing I did not plan on doing at all. And then it was an option with fewer credits for the same type of degree, so I did that. And it's also weird, like one thing I've noticed is when you like the job you're doing, like I do now, people don't want to ask you about it, and when you bitch about your job, everybody always wants to know. And it feels like it's the same way. Like if you really like your job, you don't really talk about it, I guess. That's just been my own personal experience. And if you hate your job, you bitch about it all the time. So that's just another thing I've noticed from being a productive member of society. I don't know. Have you encountered that? Like people who hate their jobs just don't stop talking about it, and people who love their jobs talk about it if you ask them?
Yeah, I would say that that's accurate. I, luckily, have never had a job that I have really hated. I think really the only way that you can hate a job is if you have a bad boss. Because
my boss right now is great.
Because like that's really the only thing that like having a good boss is very important, I feel like, to enjoying your job. Because you could be working the shittiest job ever, but if your boss is good, and like it would make it a better job, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm listening to James Comey, who was the director of the FBI until Trump fired him. He wrote a book, kind of like a biography or an autobiography, whichever one is the one where you write it yourself, where he kind of goes through his life.
That's an autobiography.
An autobiography, and he talks about his childhood. And he had these. I'm
sorry. I think it is a biography. Just a regular biography.
That's what I was leaning towards. But he talks about this job at a supermarket when he was in high school, and he said to this day it was the best job he ever had, just because he had a great boss who took a lot of pride in having a really clean and a really nice supermarket, and he always made work fun, and him and all the other high schoolers who worked there would compete to just have the cleanest aisles, and it was a hard job, and they worked hard. But having a boss who cared about what they were doing and who was always fair was one of the things that taught him how to be a great leader. And like the man climbed up to be one of the most well-respected people in the country, and still to this day is one of the most well-respected government officials. I think when you look at government agencies and their leaders, it's really easy to see like, oh, that guy's a piece of shit. But James Comey, who was appointed by Bush pretty much because he wasn't a partisan person, and who is well respected in every political sphere. And it's kind of weird that Republicans are now saying that he's this or he's that, just because they're hopping on the Trump bandwagon. But like him learning leadership, the Trump train. For some reason, it seems like everybody's getting off now. We can talk politics in a bit, but
just for a little bit.
Like his boss, like one time he threw a super expensive price scanner and somebody had played a prank on him where they came around the corner and said, Comey, throw me the scanner, I need it real quick. And then that person had ducked behind something because they saw the boss coming, and when he threw the gun, it fell right at his boss's feet and shattered. And the boss was just like, I hope you've learned. He's like, have you learned something? And he went, yeah. And he just said, clean it up. So listening to that kind of reinforced how important it is to be a leader that's fair and really gives a shit about the people who are working for you.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
So, Jared, you might read more news than I do these days because I think I say this on every podcast I've ever been on, but I'm really enjoying not being a news hound anymore. Like, things get to me that are on the front page of Reddit, or people will bring things up and I'll look into them, but I'm not like, oh, what did Trump do this morning, and what did he do this afternoon, and what did he do tomorrow?
I don't care about that shit, but
yeah, but like electoral stuff, you always seem to be quite informed on.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of the news I get from Twitter, Reddit.
Yeah, same.
That's about it. But every day at lunch, they always have Fox News on at the office that I work at. And even though I hate Fox News, I have to watch it because it's not like I'm going to be like, hey, turn off Fox News. You know what I mean?
Put some MSNBC on.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, that's about the only news I get.
Yeah, so what do you have any opinions about this election? I know the first debate is coming up. I'm pulling up information on it now.
Oof, I don't know any of
it's
the...
It's June 27th. There's 2 nights. So I'm going to I'll read the first kind of round, and you tell me if any names stand out. And then maybe bring on your questions, because a lot of these people I know at least a little bit about. Oh man, the first night is weird. Yeah, the first night's like their shitty night where they just throw anybody on stage, I think. Although there are some big names. The second night's going to be the really big one. So the first night we have John Delaney, who was a mayor or a governor, I believe. Jay Inslee, neither of these people you've heard of. Tulsi Gabbard, you might have heard of her. Amy Klobuchar, you might have heard of her. Beto O'Rourke, Elizabeth Warren, and Cory Booker. So the last 5 at the end are somewhat big names.
I know Beto O'Rourke and Elizabeth Warren. That's it.
Okay, so this is a really interesting... Like, I always love asking people who don't super follow politics just the names they've heard, because that usually reinforces people who are leading in the polls. And right now, Elizabeth Warren is leading in the polls of people this first night.
That doesn't surprise me at all, because I know one of the big things that she's going for is student debt forgiveness, correct?
Yeah, that seems to be one of the big things that these Democrats are going to talk about on this first debate. I think the student loan debt, marijuana is going to be huge, especially Bill de Blas.
I tell you what, anyone who says that they will do student loan forgiveness, they got my vote.
Yeah,
I can tell you that right now.
Same. I was thinking about that when I was looking at my student loan payment, and I'm like, I don't really want to start doing like massive payments if it's just going to be made.
Yeah, right.
Maybe if I don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Elizabeth Warren seems like the clear leader in this first week. There's going to be a ton of talk about recreational marijuana, because Bill de Blasco's there, and he's the governor of New York, the mayor of New York, or the governor of New York. I believe, and they just legalized it. The state and the city just legalized it, or they decriminalized it. So that's going to be talked about a ton. I think Elizabeth Warren, if I'm making prediction, will be the standout. I didn't actually know when this was. I'm going to have to watch it. It's the 22nd? Yeah,
I think that Beto O'Rourke will do a good job in the polls. Mm-hmm. A lot of people seem to like him.
Yep.
Elizabeth Warren will probably do well. Bernie Sanders, I'm sure, will do well.
Yeah, so let me get to the second night. The second night, we have Eric Swalwell, who I don't know.
Okay.
Michael Bennet, who I also don't know. Kirsten Gillibrand, who is a senator from New York, I believe. Kamala Harris, who is a senator from California. Creepy Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Pete Buttigieg, followed by Andrew Yang and John Hickenlooper. Any of those names stand out for you?
Bernie Sanders. Joe Biden.
Have you heard anything of Pete Buttigieg? Because he's kind of won the news cycle in these
I have not.
pre-debate polls and stuff like that. His name has been coming up a lot. He's just a mayor from Ohio, I think, a gay mayor from Ohio who was also a veteran.
Really?
So he's like the dream candidate, really, for Middle America for the Rust Belt.
He's from Ohio, you say?
He is from Ohio, I believe, or Indiana. Let me check.
I think that Bernie will end up with a nomination. At least I hope he will.
Yeah, I think I was talking to a lobbyist, mayor of South Bend. Do you know where South Bend is?
South Bend, Ohio?
Yeah,
I do not know where that is. I'm gonna assume it's in the south, so southern part of Ohio.
Let me type in South Bend. Oh, it's in the south. Oh, Indiana. Sorry.
Oh, all right. Well, fuck that guy then.
Okay, this is the guy from Ohio.
No, but realistically, I don't think Joe Biden will do very well.
I hope not.
I hope either Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, or Beto O'Rourke, I feel like would do a good job.
Yeah, those seem to be the names that a lot of people are picking, and I hope Bernie Sanders does, but like based on what happened in 2016, it feels like Bernie already got burned, so now he won't get burned.
Mm-hmm.
Like people learn their lesson when you screw with Bernie Sanders. Your voters screw back. Oh, there's a debate July 30th and 31st in Detroit. That's interesting. We can't go because we'll be on this trip. At least that's the weekend that we planned it for. But yeah, I'm really excited. 2016 was great because it was the first election where I could vote in and where I could be politically involved. My voice just cracked. Jesus.
I heard that.
My mouth is dry. Need some water. But yeah, this is like I think I'm more pessimistic, but I know like I'm not going to buy a shirt this time. I bought a Bernie Sanders shirt last election.
Here's the difference in this election for me. In 2016, the entire time that it was going on, I was thinking there's no fucking way that Trump will be the president. People are not that stupid, right?
And every time
now I
think
know
that, I'm proven wrong.
people are that stupid.
That's stupid.
So this election will be quite different mindset-wise, I think, for not just for me, but for a lot of people. Because I feel like a lot of people had that same sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people were like, no way Trump will be president. I'll write Harambe in for my...
Yeah, I don't even need to go vote. There's no way
right.
he's going to win. There was a ton of people who were like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, look at the midterms. I mean, people came out.
Yeah, the midterms
they were mad.
Like
people were
the
mad. The
single greatest Democrat overtake since 2008, I believe. So it was a surge election, and nothing has happened to like. I always whenever I talk to older Republicans, I always talk to them about what their party is at our age. I'm like, listen, man, the Republicans who go to Republican speaking events and the Republicans in college are the cringiest losers.
Yeah, seriously.
On campus. Like all of them are just super cringy, and
everybody hates them.
There's no cool Republicans in college. Like they're all just
like
dicks.
people who.
I take that back. There are Republicans I have met on CMU's campus who I like. I had one of them on my podcast, and he was a great time. But all of them seem to be, I'm more libertarian. I just vote Republican. Like that seems to be the running theme.
I'm friends with people who, like, okay, the way I see it, I don't care what you think or what you do, as long as you're not like hateful. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
I always tell people that. Like, are you like? They're like, you're not going to be friends with someone because they're Republican. I'm like, that's not what I said.
Yeah, right.
If they're an asshole, I'm not going to be friends with them. And
I'm friends with multiple Republicans just because of where I live. It's like a farm area, so yeah, there are a lot of people out there who are conservative. And I mean, they're great people. They're some of my good friends. But just because I don't agree with them politically doesn't mean that I don't agree with other things that they say or that I don't think that they're great people.
Yeah, I agree. And that's something that I think a lot of people misunderstand. And when a lot of people, like when I debate people, it's never like I don't try and win, and I think that's something that I did when I was much younger. Like in high school, I would try to win debates, and you can't really win a debate because
you can't change people's opinions.
Yeah, it's
people
really
are
hard
always going to be set in their ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if it's based on what I've read, to change someone's opinion, they need to constantly be given new information, and they need to slowly come to that conclusion themselves. And when I talk to people, and I don't like using the word debate, but when I talk to people who I have political differences with, I try and lay out the same information that I had to get to that point, and I hope that I plant a seed of them looking more into it and finding things out for themselves. So that's just kind of how, like, if you're dear listener, if you're debating somebody or you're talking about politics, don't try and win, because nobody does. Two people lose.
My advice to the listeners is to just treat people how you would want to be treated. That's the way I look at things.
Yeah.
If you're nice to me, I'm going to be nice back to you. But if you're an asshole to me, I'm probably going to be an asshole back to you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Holy shit. I just looked at a map of Michigan, and there's a town named Dick. Do you want to make a stop there on our trip?
We could. We could also stop in Gay Hell.
Where's Gay? Oh, Gay Hell got bought out.
It was just Hell, and then it got bought out by some YouTuber.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yes.
And they changed the name to Gay Hell.
Hell, Michigan. I'm going to pull up this whole story, because this is really, like, what do you do if you live there? Like, I don't even know if I want to, like, their flag is like a rainbow flag. Like, I don't.
Yeah. Hell, Michigan, that's a cool town name. You know what I mean? Oh, I live in Hell. Now it's like, I live in Gay Hell.
Gay Hell, yeah. And it doesn't seem like the kind of people who would be too interested in that type of name change. And
what
the guy
is how do you buy a town?
Yeah, that's what I like. What does that mean? This town is actually south of us. He can't disclose how much he paid to be mayor for 2 weeks, but he's in the process of purchasing the town permanently. He banned heterosexual people in town as a stunt. His first act as owner this time was to only allow pride flags after Trump administration put a ban on embassies flying pride flags. So it's interesting.
So it's just a publicity stunt.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's for this guy's YouTube channel.
The flags all say like and subscribe.
Click the bell. Which is a great transition to tell you, dear listener, if you want to be updated about when we upload this thing and when we put out video from the trip, go and click that bell.
Yeah, be sure to turn on notifications, guys.
Notification
comment,
squad. Subscribe. What should we call our listeners? Like PewDiePie calls them
the bros
or something like that.
Logan
Paul calls them his low gang.
Is that real?
I made it up, but I think I knew that.
I know that Super Mega calls them Megheads as a joke, though.
What is the Logan Paul fan base called?
That sounds correct, honestly. Low gang.
Low gang and low gangsters. That's the worst.
Yeah, man. That's badass.
Ugh. This is sad.
One
just
of my
typing in Logan Paul to Google.
Yeah, that's gonna be on your history for forever now.
No.
So one of my favorite shows just got its second season out yesterday.
Which show is that?
And that would be Dark on Netflix.
Oh shit! I just yanked my computer off my desk. Go ahead.
Dark on Netflix.
Tell me about it.
Well, it's a German show, and when I say that, it turns a lot of people off instantly. But if you give it a chance, it has one of the craziest stories I've ever seen.
Oh, is this where the kid goes missing and he shows up like 10 years later?
It's a time travel story, but it's about how not only does the past affect the future, but the future affects the past.
Okay.
It's so cool. The way that the story is told is incredible. There's plot twists and stuff that you don't see coming.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I watched it dubbed, which it was still good, but it was nowhere as good as the subbed German version. And
so you're saying I should watch the subbed German version?
Yes, I think you should watch anything in its native language, if that makes sense. So if there's a German show like Dark,
just watch anime in Japanese.
If there's a German show in like Dark, then you should watch it in German. If you want to watch anime, yes, you should watch it in Japanese, because the voice acting is just that much better. Because it's the way that it's intended to be watched, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like just the emotion, and it also stops when I watch stuff that's dubbed. It stops me from pulling my phone. Okay.
So I didn't send in my laptop to Dell yet because we were doing this podcast, but
I can tell.
I will do that. Anyway, what were you saying after I got done talking about the sub stuff?
Yeah, it stops me from when things are subtitled. It stops me from looking at my phone and getting distracted when I watch something, which is a huge problem.
Yeah, that's another thing too. And some people are like, "Well, I don't want to read while I'm watching." It's like, dude, can you not read? It takes me like 2 seconds to read what they're saying, and I can still understand. Like, I'm still watching the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't mind them. I know a lot of people have a big issue with them, or a lot of people are like, you're an animal if you don't. If you like, people are really militant about them being on. It's like, what if a deaf I almost said blind person. What if a deaf person was watching it? And I'm like, well, I'm in my living room, and I'd like to turn them off because I'm not deaf. At least yet.
Yeah, right. No, there's definitely, like, if I'm watching a movie in English, I'm obviously not going to have the subtitles on.
Mm-hmm.
But
although freshman year, you used to do that.
Yeah, sometimes, because I would have to turn up my TV volume so loud to hear some stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but there'll be a scene in the movie that's super quiet, and you turn up your volume super loud. And then the next scene is a huge action scene, and it is just the loudest thing.
It's like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah. So I would just fucking turn my volume down and just have the subtitles on.
Mm-hmm.
Subtitles don't bother me at all. Neither does listening to something in a different language. I know a lot of people who are like, if it's not in English, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I can't listen to music in a different language unless it's like lo-fi and they're playing Japanese, and it's like Japanese voices.
See, to me, I can listen to some songs in a different language just because I like how it sounds. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's that Kanye sample in New Slaves? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. It's like it's like a weird like tongue that they're speaking in.
Yeah, it's about like the Rwandan genocide or whatever.
Yeah, it's that song is really cool.
Yeah, and I can't understand a word they're saying, but it sounds amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. Well, are you ready to wrap, Jarrett? We're at about an hour.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I'm going to link you a Reddit thread. Like, this is the first Reddit post of many where this person wrote like sci-fi horror stories about working for a U.S. Forest
I've
Service.
read all of these, Jeremy.
Oh, have you? Okay,
yes.
I know I showed you these before. I'm going to recommend it to the listeners. It's called I Am a Search and Rescue Officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. This person kind of went like they're kind of not on the internet anymore, and they stopped doing these, which really sucks because I really enjoyed them. But yeah, go just type in "Stairs in the Woods" and it's a Reddit thread, and it's one of the best like series of short stories I've ever seen. Yeah, their last Reddit post was 2 years ago.
There's honestly some pretty spooky stories that he tells.
It's a she, by the way, but yeah.
She, yes. Okay.
It's written through the eyes of a male Forest Service, but it is a girl singing it. And from the last I heard when I looked into this like a year or two ago, they were having some health issues. And what got me thinking about it was that show that you brought up that talks about time travel, because this plays a little bit with all of the themes of horror and sci-fi. So I highly recommend people
check that out. If I were to say one thing before this ends, even if it doesn't sound like it's up to your alley, even if you don't want like looking at subtitles, I would recommend watching Dark. It is.
I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna watch
show.
The first episode tonight.
It takes a little bit to get going. Probably I would say 3 episodes. But once the first big plot twist happens, you don't want to stop watching it.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, it might not be for everybody, but from what I've seen on IMDb and different websites like that, it has great all-around reviews from a bunch of different people.
Okay.
So it could be for anyone, I think. And it's just a really good story, and it's a good show.
Yeah, I'll start watching it, and I'll let you know what I think next week.
Yeah, or I mean, you could just text me too.
Okay, yeah. I kind of want to do a review live on the podcast after the first season.
Okay. Well, I'm going to watch the second season. So.
Okay, don't spoil anything for me because there's no way I get to that in a week.
Yeah, right. I won't spoil anything. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you guys for listening. See you later.
Peace. All right, go take a shit.